Good morning, my friends. Man, oh man, it feels good to be back home, back in the shop. Bobby and I were gone for a total of 10 days. 10 days. We left Wednesday, got back yesterday, which was Sunday. And we are so close to finishing up the all-wheel drive Type R. There's only a couple little things that this car needs to be 100% done, at least for now. But we all know with car builds, they're never actually truly done. But my vision, like the first iteration of this build, is going to be complete here shortly. Initially today, I was planning on working on the transmission. Unfortunately, one key component of our transmission build did not arrive while we were gone. That should be here within the next few days. So that gives us a little bit of time to hopefully go out and enjoy the car. And I'll show you guys when we go cruise it later, what exactly is going on with the trans and why we need to pull this car back apart to fix the trans, but we'll discuss that later. So what I want to do first is get a couple other little fixes on the car completed, and then we can take it out and go cruise it. It's been a while. I'm sure there's other issues that are gonna arise, but for the most part, everything should be done, I hope. So the first minor issue is with the bump steer that we were having on the car. I bought this all-star bump steer kit. Unfortunately, they were not quite a bit long enough. So I went ahead and got these exact things made, but just longer, as you guys can see. So those are a good 1/2 inch longer. That should give us plenty of space. Got these sleeves, 5/8 inside diameter, 3/4 inch outside diameter. So this is initially how it was set up. All the spacers on the bump steer kit, that guy attaches to the factory knuckle, lifts the tie rod up off of the knuckle, eliminating the slope down from when we had to lift the steering rack up off the subframe to create clearance for the key case. So with these new pieces in and these spacers here, this should be the perfect amount for the bump steer. If this resolves the issue 100% completely, then this thing can hit the alignment rack and all the alignment issues with the car will be done. I thought they were already finished up with this kit, but like I said, not quite enough. And honestly, having all these spacers separate, I wasn't really a big fan of it. Just seemed a little bit sketchy to me. So one solid piece definitely seems better. Bump steer issue should be all finished up. Of course, you do need to verify on the alignment rack by raising and lowering the car, make sure the toe doesn't shift dramatically like it used to. Now for all of the tiny little details of the build. Man, oh man, I swear this is where all of the freaking time is spent. Little OEM goodies. This piece right here, hopefully is gonna fix our head unit, some interior clips, and then I got a bunch of random clips and screws and whatnot for stuff like missing screws for the inner fenders, missing clips for the inner fenders. The finishing touches of the build, man, like I said, takes all the time and thinking and effort and remembering to order the freaking parts. I got all the clips and screws and whatnot on the car, quick string alignment. Last thing I want to attempt to fix before we go for a quick rip, or a long rip, I should say, because it's well deserved in this car, is trying to get this radio fixed. This is an antenna, and obviously on a traditional car, you would think that would not be the limiting factor in the radio working, but as we've seen with this car, with everything, the stock cluster has to be in for the hatch to open, the stock ECU has to be in for the e-brake to work, all that good stuff. Everything is kind of intertwined. We do know that the antenna wire on this car is currently broken, so I'm thinking that is why we are getting no sound out of the radio. Damn, not as easy as I thought it would be. Does not work. So popping back into the self-diagnostic mode on the radio, you can see that everything is up and running. The XM radio is now active. So this is displaying the same exact stuff that Bobby's red Type R displays, which of course is not helping the situation because we still ain't got audio. It's saying that the amplifier, that guy there, it shows it's connected and active. Connection. Okay. Dang. I think I left the freaking radio on overnight, so it drained the battery, but with the handy dandy jump pack, we should be back up and running. this car, the dust shields rub on the rotors. I'm about to take them off. Gosh dang, that is so annoying. I just bought this new goodie from Best Buy. Hopefully it makes my GoPro audio a little bit better. I'm sure it'll make it way better. You guys can never hear anything that I'm saying as I'm driving around, especially in this car, because it rattles and vibrates so freaking much. It vibrates so much that this damn thing right here that clips in there, I don't know if it's broken. It doesn't look broken, but it was very rattly, so I took it out. All right. Let's go for a rip-a-ro-ni in the Type R. Can you guys hear me fine? I guess we'll see when I go to edit this video. Hopefully this audio is good, because that shit was 400 to 300 bucks. I really need to see how what this fifth gear and gearing is like in this trans before I pull the trans and build it. I was gonna go to a better cruising ratio, but they didn't have any in stock at the Honda dealer. So I may be stuck with the current fifth gear, which is a 02 to 06. USDM fifth gear, I think it's a 738 ratio. Hold on, let me check. I was gonna go to a 659. Son of a bitch needs a tune. It's kind of fun. Hope you guys can hear me. Otherwise, all this shit is wasted. They're watering the sign. Interesting. Interessante. All right, so current fifth gear. I should probably not be on my phone while driving, but this is important information. Fifth is a 738, and I was going to go down to a 659, but like I said, they didn't have that in stock. That's from a 03 to 07 Accord. But I'm gonna go on the highway and just act like I'm cruising, say maybe do 65, 70 and see how it is. See if I even need to change it or if we're good to go as is. I mean, we're kind of forced to be good to go as is, so I guess we'll see. This thing vibrates so much at idle, but there ain't much you can do about it. That rattle right there. I'm sure I could put some foam in the dash and probably fix it. Don't die on me. Or I bet if we just raise the idle to like, it's at like 800 right now, if we hit like 1200, nice and smooth, that'd probably help a lot as well. To boost a little bit. The boost cut's still 2,000 RPM on this car, or that made a lot of sense. Boost cut is 2 PSI. It was like a 4,400 RPM limiter. Whack. And to get this trans built so we can get this thing on the dyno, get it fully tuned. I'm also kind of debating, I mentioned this to Bobby and she didn't think that it was a very cool idea, but running no hood and just building a hood exit as well, because this thing already, like, especially when you go to a straight cut gear set, a straight cut 1 through 4, like, there's gonna be so much noise everywhere with how the trans is going to be set up with the motor mounts being stiff like they are. Like, we might as well just drown out all that noise with the hood exit, and that's a much more pleasant sound than like shit vibrating around. But then again, we did spend like a freaking week building this cat back, so I don't know yet. Just random ideas. So at 60 miles an hour, like we're doing, are we really doing 60? The speedo might be off. I just don't feel like we're doing 60, but then again, we're in a Type R, not a 1991 NSX. Do I have a speedo app on my phone? I do. Oh, there's a cop. Nice. Alright, so let's see how accurate my speedo is. Listen, wait for it. That cut. Whack. I'm so happy, like, all the big issues are figured out. And before we talk about that, that says 47 miles an hour, and the car's saying 50. So it's a little off. I'm sure we could calibrate that. So when I'm doing a true 65 miles an hour on the app, we're at 3K. I don't see a problem with that. And like I said, we're kind of forced to run these gears right now, unless I just find some random used trans that I can steal gears out of. Pretty much all the big issues with the car are sorted, besides this frickin' transmission, which I haven't really talked about. You guys probably see every time I shift, I skip second and I skip fourth. Sometimes second will work fine, but fourth has been shot since day one. So you can go into fourth gear. I'll show you here in a second, actually. So, good Lord. All right, third gear. Yeah, it clicks in, but there ain't nothing there. So, and then second gear, like, it's the same thing, but it's just hit or miss. But that massive brake issue that we were having, that's all resolved. The e-brake works. The hatch opens. It's a little issue, but like that shit works now, which is cool. So pretty much all that we have left is we got to get the reverse light working, which I want to do it early enough in the system, like just on the trans, I guess, and plug that into the factory component location, whatever needs to be plugged in, so we can have the factory reverse camera working. That would be super sick. Of course, minor details, but that would be cool. Reverse lights don't work on the taillights, of course, right now, because none of that is wired up properly, but you can just tell this thing wants to eat. It feels like I'm driving Bobby's Type R. All of the bump steer shit, it feels completely gone. Like, obviously we need to verify that on the alignment rack. Ouch. But it feels good. I need to raise this car up. She scrapes and rubs. A train coming that I do not want to wait for. Oh, sweet. I'm sure I'll talk about this more in like an upcoming video, but I really am heavily debating getting rid of a shit ton of cars, and I guess the main reason for it is it's so mind draining trying to enjoy a car right now. Like this car is a perfect example of it, because we put so much time and effort into it, and it's so close to being able to just cruise around like we're doing right now. I guess we are able to cruise around right now, but in my mind I'm so focused on all the future projects to where my mind is not letting me enjoy the cars that I build, because there's so many. Like there's literally like 3 years I could calendar out full of just shit that needs to be done on cars that you guys don't even know about that I own, and other cars that you guys do know about that I own. Yeah, man, I don't know, I might just go on a selling spree and get down to like 5 cars. And I know I talked about this a couple months ago when we came back from vacation. We went to the Bahamas, and I came back and kind of had the same realization that this shit is very, very stressful, trying to be a one-man deal. And something did a burnout. I think that was Honda Odyssey. But try to be a one-man thing, like just do my own thing, and trying to enjoy cars like I used to. I truly do not enjoy any of the cars. They are dreadful to me, which sounds so stupid because obviously they're all pretty badass cars. They're all cars I've ever dreamed. They're all cars I've always dreamed of wanting. But right now I can't enjoy shit. It sucks. Now, of course, there's some cars that I couldn't get rid of, like the car that we're currently driving, for example. I don't know if I would ever be able to get rid of this car because of the amount of personal attachment I have to it now, and especially that we haven't even enjoyed it at all. But there's other shit that I don't even care about at all, that I have owned for a while that I couldn't care less about. And some of those cars may probably surprise you guys. I keep buying cars thinking it's going to solve my unhappiness problem that I got in life, and it does, but it only works for a couple days. Like when I bought the NSX, I was stoked for a few days, but after a while it wears off, and you snap back to reality, and you're in the same old position, just with more bullshit and less brain cells, because they're filled up with ideas on more cars. So when you have 30 cars, you ain't got no brain. So if I seem brainless, it's because I am. Wish my radio would work. It's funny though, because it beeps, but no audio comes out. Bobby and I went back and watched, there's like 4 or 5 episodes of the Rose rebuild right when we first bought the red Evo that Jared, this pile. The red Evo that Jared bought from Bobby, but when Bobby and I first bought it, that shit was so fun, and it made me realize that more is not always better. I think back then we had, well, that was Bobby's car, but Bobby and I combined, we had maybe like 7 cars combined. 6 or 7, I don't remember, 4 or 5 years ago. But even like looking at myself on camera, I look so much happier than how I look now. It's hilarious. And I look way younger too, and it wasn't even that long ago. Well, it was, but I look a lot older than I look. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I actually looked 25 back then. Now I look 40 when I'm, no second gear. I look 40 right now and I'm only 29.
Please depress the brake pedal to release the parking brake.
It still works because we put the stock cluster back in. That's hilarious. All right, let's drive right into the shop. Hopefully this mic is cool. The starter kind of sounds like shit about 20% of the time. I guess I gotta back it in. We're pulling the trans tomorrow. I'm so excited to have this thing done. Oh shit, look, what's the truck? Let's see, that was like the first super long drive. Curious how hot this turbo blanket is. That's crazy. That was like we put like some solid miles on it. Let's grab a little temp gun and see where we're truly at on the Brake Master Sealander. We are chilling 225 degrees. What was this thing at before? I know, it was absolutely ridiculous. 375. We are in the clear, my friends. Also, I'm gonna call myself out real quick. And typically I wouldn't show this kind of shit on camera and I would just fix it, but this is how you know that you're not like, when you know you can do good work and you don't do good work, stuff like this happens. Look how nasty the top of that bumper looks. And that's like the main viewing area that everyone can see. So that solidifies that I need to calm down with some of these projects and just focus more on quality instead of quantity. I did get a package though. This package arrived the day that we left for Vegas in the NSX, straight from Japan. You guys are gonna be excited for this one because I am. I find it kind of crazy that you cannot get these in the States and you gotta order them from Japan. At least I couldn't find them in the States at all. OEM Honda goodness. These are gonna completely tie off the bay. I never intended for this thing to be a show car, but the bay is kind of like showy a little bit, being tubbed and tucked and all that good stuff. If you have ever seen this thing at a show, you know this is kind of disgusting looking. We had to put the wiring up in there and it looks like shit if I'm being honest. But these guys should cover all of that and I'm super excited. Look at how beautiful these OEM pieces are. So this is gonna be this side. That is incorrect. If you guys want some of these things, I'll try and link them down below. We're gonna have to do something about this hood strut. Pop a little hole in it, not a big deal, in the cover. But that's basically how they're gonna sit, minus the hood struts in the way. Those things are gonna be pretty nice. Really ties off and finishes up the bay. I might build a little plate right here. I don't know what it would say, but just to cover up all that. And other than that, this bay is done as far as looks are concerned. Talking about stuff being neglected though, dude, this truck is neglected. Don't worry, I do want to get those fender vent things on, but I need to get this thing sitting on some foam. All the bugs from when the guys took it down to Portland to get the Type R down there for the show. She's filthy. This is what foam is so nice for. Spray it on all the bugs, let it saturate the bugs, and then they kind of just pressure wash right off. This thing though, severely needs a set of brakes. What else? Some of the wrap is kind of destroyed on the mirror caps and the door handles, so I might just get those painted. And under cool, nice polish would go a long way, but I feel like my mind says if it's not cool content, it doesn't deserve to be worked on, which is a little backwards because if this thing breaks down, I'm kind of screwed. All right, let's just do one side at a time. I'm gonna start off with the driver's side. The passenger side may be a little bit more difficult. I might have to do some wiring adjustments because I know there obviously has to be a cutout in the little fender garnish vent cover thingamabobber for the windshield washer reservoir. But let's see what we can do. So that obviously clips there. Did they send clips? They sent 2 clips. Looks like I got clips there. Okay, what do you think? Cool or bunk? Looks like there's a couple different mods we're gonna have to do on those fender vents, but I'm gonna clean the truck real quick because I need to. Sometimes I think I want to trade in the Duramax for a newer one, but man, oh man, when this thing's clean, and imagine if it was all shined up. LMLs just look so good. I think this is a 15 or 16. Getting up there on miles is like 155,000 miles now, but it's a diesel, so she'll live forever. All right, let's figure out what we got to do with these fender vent covers. So This needs to be trimmed because it's hitting the tub. And then of course we need to do something for our hood strut. First thing I want to do is trim it up, get it sitting exactly where it needs to sit. And then we can deal with the hood struts. So I'm gonna run this, what is that? Maybe 1/4 inch wide tape. It's about the width of that right there. And I'm gonna try to mimic this width all the way through to that side. Hopefully it works. Cutting plastic, sometimes it's kind of hard to make look nice, but. So do I use a razor blade or do I use a cutoff wheel? All right, we got both of these guys on. It looks very, very, very clean now. If I could go back in time, I would have not done the hood struts. I would have left the factory hood prop because now we have a cutout right there for the hood prop and we had to cut out these guys for the struts. But you can go back in time and change things. That side looks cleaner than this side, of course, because it does not have the cutout for the hood prop little bracket thing. But all in all, I think it really cleaned it up. Hit all the wiring for the most part. You can see a little bit in that hole there. But overall, it looks way better. And of course, like on a stock Bay Type R, it'd look even better with the factory hood prop and all that. You don't have to modify them at all. So with that being said, I'll link them down below. Just keep in mind, you do have to order these things from Japan, which is crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Gonna wrap it up here. Peace out, my homies and my homettes, and I'll see you boys in the next episode.